Let's give it a grade. Let's give the season a grade. Each of
Good
us. Each of
call.
us.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just do that before we get into Kenobi now, I guess.
You want to do numbers or letters?
I
I
think
like
1 through 10. I think
percentage.
1 through 10 is really good because it
Okay.
gives a wider range of kind of everything you feel. You can put more
Yeah.
of an emotional kind of instead of 1 through 5 or A B C D.
Yeah.
I think 1 through 10 is kind of best. So I think let's start with Kat, Zach, and then I'll go.
I will give it a solid 9. I think my only complaint is that it maybe felt a little too detached from season 1. At some points, it did feel like, oh my gosh, there's so many cameos. Like, we can't even just focus on one. Like, so much is happening. But, I mean, those are silly things to complain about. I guess it goes back to, like, the fan service of sometimes it can be too much of a good thing, maybe. And there can be too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to, like, all these characters each getting their own episode. Is like we can't even elaborate on some of them. So, I'd say that was my only complaint if I had to detract a point. So yeah, I'd say 9 out of 10 for me.
And what would you give season 1 as a comparison?
Maybe like a probably like an 8 range. But see, it's hard because I don't want to say it's a worse season just because it doesn't have all the great cameos. Like, it has been the cameos and the excitement around them that has made season 2 so great.
Yeah, I guess that brings up a point. Would season 2 have been as good if not for the cameos?
I think it would be a totally
dude,
different plot.
it's so hard to say.
What would the plot even be? Like,
Yeah, it's true.
It would be Frog Lady. Like,
Well, I guess you could do this. You could substitute Ahsoka for just some Jedi that we don't know. You could substitute Bo-Katan for some Mandalorian that we don't know, and you substitute Luke.
And Luke for Ezra.
Yeah, let's say that, or Luke for Ahsoka, or Luke for Ezra, like one of those two. I would still say yeah, it's better. I think just because it has more cohesion.
consecutive plot is a huge thing for me.
Are 0.5s allowed? Can you go halves?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
That's why the 10-point system is
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
I'll go 8.5 for
Flexibility.
season 2. I thought it was a step up from season 1. I'll give season 1 a 7. I was like excited for season 2, but not like over the moon for it. Like I was like I think Kat said earlier, like her view on Marvel shows where it's like you'll watch them, but you're not like super hyped about it. I was hyped, but not like I was hyped for season 7 of the Clone Wars, for example. Like I was like so excited about that.
Yeah.
But this season, going into season 3, I'm now like very excited for season 3. So I think for me the second season was a step up, and it upped the hype for me. And I just thought season 1 there were a lot of episodes that weren't as amazing, and some characters that I didn't enjoy that much, but it was still entertaining. It was a solid show. And last but not least,
I would give season 1 an 8 because it does so well at kind of introducing the world and letting us know that this is kind of a Saturday morning show series that's going to build off of the idea of side quests and established lore. It's going to dive more deep into things that we don't get to see in the main movies. So I think that in itself, it's a good standalone film. It's a standalone kind of series for people who are really big fans. I think for the average casual fan, I think that season's probably like maybe like a 6 because they have no idea what's happening and they want to kind of learn more after the first season, and that's what season 2 is all about. So, which I think even is worse for the casual fan. Anyway, I would give season 1 an 8. From my perspective, from a big fan, and then going into season 2, I would say that without Luke, it's like without Luke, it's about maybe like a 7 because a lot of episodes fell flat for me. But with Luke, it's an 8.5. Because it kind of brings up opens up a whole new can of worms about where it could go, and it excites me like to no end. The only downsides I think that don't make it like a 9 or a 10 for me is like I said earlier, some of the episodes look very fan filmish, and as Kat said, the cooks in the kitchen thing isn't something that I've always talked about. I think that if they had maybe like one or two directors for the entire season, it would have formed more cohesion and you would have had the same feel. Like I think if Rick, honestly, from my opinion, I think Rick should have done all of them, just so it had that same look as Rogue One. And maybe I think his involvement with character development seems to be more important than I think anyone else's director standpoint. So I would have liked to have seen him do more episodes. Another critique I would say that me and Zach were diving into repetitively was the idea of fan service being kind of the main selling point of this season. Granted, I don't think the future seasons will be so reliant on fan service. It's just like season one, it needs to build itself into the world that it is and let everyone know who the characters are in this world. So I think it'll only get better from here on out. The idea that one person can change the entire outcome of a season almost seemed like folly or insane to me. But the fact that Luke alone is the reason why this season 2 stands out to me more than any other season shows you how powerful his character is. And I really look forward to seeing what they're planning on doing with him. I don't know. I know it's all speculation about whether or not he's going to get his own show. I personally don't want to see his own show. I'd rather see him in and out of maybe the next couple of seasons.
I was going to ask about that.
I remember I was hearing Star Wars Theory go off on one of his streams about how he would have loved to. He really wants to see a Luke story, but his buddy who he was on the stream with was saying, no, that's a terrible idea because he's already an established character in the lore. That if you do too much, it'll detract from his presence and it'll detract from kind of who he is as a character. It's better to have him kind of coming in and out and have the Mandalorian focus on Mandalorians, which I 100% agree with.
Yeah. To
every standpoint. I think the Mandalorian is going to take a deep dive into, as I just said earlier, Mandalorians, like the Boba Fett thing, and then Bo-Katan. Like maybe this next season will be just Bo-Katan and Din, and then maybe the fourth season we'll dive into maybe another Mandalorian, diving into like their conflict, and then from there we'll go into Luke training Grogu or whatever it is that we're doing. But I think that the idea of a Luke series is very milky. I think that they would be milking it way too hard, and I think that the idea of having him be this, not necessarily a side character, but it being like a cameo appearance consistently would be far better rather than having him constantly on screen.
Here's what I would do with Luke. I would do exactly that. I would not have him have his own live action show. I would not have him become like a main character of The Mandalorian. I would have him maybe in like 5 years or so. I would have an animated show similar to the Clone Wars where it's about Luke kind of setting up his Jedi temple and getting students. And it's not necessarily about Luke. I think Luke could take kind of like a Yoda role in the Clone Wars where he's like there a lot, but he's not necessarily the main character. And then we get to meet some of the Jedi. Maybe we get to see Grogu, and then obviously Ben Solo. And it kind of just starts to fill in that gap of like what Luke was doing and like kind of starting Ben Solo's journey. I know that they did it in the comics, but they should do it in a more formal medium,
in a more civilized
manner. Ridge Wallets.
Dang, now I want to see that happen. Like that would be
sponsored by Ridge
cool.
Wallets.
Ridge Wallets, make it happen. Yeah,
or my newest sponsor, NordVPN.
I think it's interesting though that across the board, I not to speak for you guys, but I think we can all agree there seems to be more excitement for season 3 going into season 3 than there was coming off of season 1 going into season 2. Like I think the hype factor is real. Like I definitely prefer where we are now, like leaving the season off with seeds planted for the future, because like season 1 had a very wrapped up and resolved feeling with a little bit of a cliffhanger, but until we heard the cameos and the rumors, we had no idea where it was going. And the marketing for this show, like they never reveal anything, so it's almost like hard to like get excited because you watch a trailer and you're like, I still don't know what this show is gonna be about. So it's like I think I'm excited like that versus season 1 finale. Like, we can like actually theorize about where we're gonna go with this show for once and see like the future like seasons kind of come to fruition.
Absolutely. Yeah, because like really there was like a vague direction after season one.
Yeah.
It was like they'll probably take Grogu somewhere.
I mean, I would even say that it's pretty freaking vague now. I think like it almost seems like Mando ends now. Like the whole show ends now, and now
Honestly,
we're building off of what Grogu and Luke are doing. You know, like everyone seems to be thinking that, and it's like where are they going to go now? Like you said, they'll go with maybe Mandalorian and Bo and Mando, but it's like, or Din, Bo and Din, but like how long can you keep that going? You know what I mean? Like
probably
as a season for that, like what? Like considering the show is like so all over the place as it is, if they're gonna stay in one place for a whole season, I don't think that'll go over.
Well, I think they have to establish a new. I mean, I guess do they have to establish a new enemy, or is it going to become a Bo versus Din, take your sides type situation? Or
I think that, like I was talking with Zach actually about this. Is I think they're gonna, they still have so much more to talk about. Like they're going into the whole like Thrawn. Being
they
Ahsoka,
planted that.
I think Ahsoka's going to be within this universe still. I don't think they're going to do a whole lot of, pre-Mando Ahsoka. I think it's mostly going to be about her tracking Thrawn.
Yeah.
She's probably going to end up dying. But I think that they need to like focus very heavily on what it is that Mando, like whether it is that they're going to stick with Din or they're going to have each season after this focus on a different Mandalorian. Like, will they do like Bo-Katan flashbacks? Will it be like, is it called The Mandalorian because now each season's going to be a different story of a Mandalorian? Is it like granted season 2 didn't do that, so if they were going to follow that suit, you would think season 2 would have done that.
Yeah.
But I think that now since Din's story is over, is it going to be like a different story for?
I don't think it's over. I think you have 1 to 2 seasons possible of this whole Mandalore thing. Like, I think you can get those seasons out of it because
maybe 1 or 2 seasons more.
Yeah,
it just depends on how they do it. Though.
Yeah,
it's like without Grogu, it's like that whole dad thing is gone now. So what is it that he wants?
Because he was a pretty boring character without Grogu, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't really know what he does his normal bounty hunter thing like every other bounty hunter. What makes him different?
He had no higher purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like Grogu that made him different. So what is going to make him different this time?
Darksaber.
But it's interesting because it's like he doesn't even have the desire for the Darksaber. Like, is that what the season's gonna be about? It slowly grows on him. Like, yeah, I want to rule Mandalore.
So.
Like, let's do this. Even though he seems like, I don't know, is that his next transformation? Like, he transforms from this, kind of emotionless guy to dad, and now is he gonna be like this dad complex to I want to rule the world? Yeah, is he gonna be corrupt? Like, I think. Yeah, who knows? Who knows?